I have a personal note on the top of this talk that says, breathe. In my nerves, I could do this whole talk in one breath. I am Bill Moore, and I'm here today to talk about outreach at Christ in St. Luke's. This came about after Father Wen and I had been having coffee on and off for about a year, with the direct or indirect topic of outreach coming up pretty often. One day, in his calculated, innocent, seemingly random fashion, he asked me if I wanted to take a position of leadership, guiding and advocating for outreach at Christ in St. Luke's. I said with some certainty, no. Then I learned what many of you already know, that Wen has a hearing deficiency associated with the word no. He just keeps talking. Why me? Pretty good question. To borrow a phrase from Father Jess, who used this in a sermon earlier this year, why not me? I have the gift of availability. I feel a deep passion for doing the next right thing, both inside and outside our walls. I would like to find ways for all who share in this passion for outreach to engage in a true conversation about where and how we're to do this. I hope to listen and look, not be afraid of some disorder, not be afraid of dead ends. I believe the way forward will become evident. There's a bit of irony in Father Wen's invitation because I personally struggle with the word outreach. Because usually in church terms, it means us and them. The them are those who are labeled less fortunate, street people, the poor, addicts, and the alcoholics. Individuals who are outside the circles of our experience. Categorizing people in this way actually increases the distance from them. While in comparison, I might at this moment have more money in the bank and a greater number of shingles over my head than a person with active street experience, doesn't mean I'm reaching out to somebody fundamentally different than me. The great gift of outreach is discovery. The great gift of outreach is the discovery that there is no us and them. There is only us. I have learned a lot from the people outside the circle of my experience. Recently, I was approached by a homeless individual for $20. I gave the man the 20 and watched as he turned, found a friend, and gave him the whole amount. I was astonished. Asked him what that was all about. He briefly explained his friend in turn was raising money to help still another friend on the street in still greater need. My friend then refused anything for himself because, quote, he didn't need it. That street person both invited generosity from me and he taught me something new about true generosity. Franciscan Richard Rohr equates God's love to a shower of rain, touching everyone not covered up. He said God's love, like rain, pools in the low places and at the margins. So when we want to find an abundance of God's love, we should head for the low ground. Find ways to be with those on the so-called margins. Listen and look, and the way will become evident. In today's gospel, we have the seemingly harsh statement about hating family. I don't have a theology degree, but life has taught me this. Once we have an encounter, like the one I had with the street person, once we're willing to be with, listen, look, and learn, we are changed. God won't let us unhear and unsee what we have seen. The forces in our life that shaped us in the past, like family, self-interest, and possessions, lose their power. Priorities shift. Some might call that a cost. Whatever you can't unhear or unsee will challenge the importance of all other loyalties. So often we believe the next right thing is to do something for the less fortunate in our community. And almost always, for, not with, is the usual proposition. Outreach is made official, a budgetary line item. I've served on vestries and have been part of that process. At a specific outreach time, doors are open, and it generally all goes well. There's nothing wrong with that. But perhaps there's something more God is inviting us to see and to learn and to do in addition to these conditioned responses. Give the opportunity for something special. Friends, I know outreach is important to this community. I'm not talking about stopping anything we're currently doing. My gosh, the tower in your bulletin runs 10 pages of stuff that's happening at Christ in St. Luke's every week. Most of it relates to outreach in one way or another. Individuals in this parish have been called out to serve significant, almost extraordinary ministries inside and outside of this building. Sadly, some of these outreach efforts are not widely known or greatly appreciated in our wider parish. My hope is to help those of you who are engaged in these ministries to find new energy, maybe gather some new workers for the vineyard, and head back out into battle. Author C.S. Lewis uses the expression, "till we know their faces." Till we know their faces. It's not an us and a them when we know faces and names. It is a totally different outreach experience when we work together. To those not involved in outreach and want to be, this is your chance and choice to use what you have been given. Maybe plant a flag here and now. No one must do anything, but here is a call for you, and now may be your time to get involved. And we are here to help you find your place. Finally, I have a thought. Let's temporarily drop the word outreach. I would like to, for a while, substitute overreach. Overreach is defined as extending outreach to the point of failure. Does that sound like a negative? It's not meant to be. At this point in the life of this church, maybe we don't need to be careful, cautious, and precise. Maybe we'll start something totally new. Maybe we'll try something that won't turn out like expected. Overreach is not going to be about outcomes. Overreach is about the passion to do the right thing, to reach over, to reach beyond the limits we had previously set for ourselves. So I invite you to join the conversation, to share your experiences, ideas, and vision. Let's come together in believing that no matter what is happening now, it can be the beginning of something new and radically different if we're willing to listen, look, and trust. Maybe together we can get a sense of a new path or paths from the voices of the group. Maybe from voices never before heard in this church. New voices are especially welcome in this dialogue. A new voice in the church suggested the community garden that's now flourishing in the lot behind the church. Organized, funded, built, and gardened by a diverse group of individuals and organizations, many from outside our church community. The garden is an early example of what I am calling overreach. If this talk is moving you to action, you could join me. Make contact. If you can't make contact today, leave or send a comment or a critique. Please be heard. Don't be silent. Overreach starts now. Care to join?